Hey everyone, Vegan Preppers here, bringing you another couple chat with a fun topic today, I believe. But before we get into that, we'll do a little bit of chit chat. And what have you been up to?
I completed a prep.
You did?
I did.
What prep was it?
I'm decaffeinated.
Oh yeah! I thought you like just made.
I made a cup of coffee now.
Fofi, as it were.
Yes, this is not coffee. This
Yeah.
is fake coffee stuff. No caffeine. So I spent the last month weaning myself off of caffeine for many reasons. Mostly because I don't like having my drink tell me what to do. But I view it as a prep. If we get into a bad situation where I don't have my regular cup of coffee, then that can be a problem. Withdrawal symptoms from caffeine are annoying.
Pretty severe, actually. Yeah. It's kind of incredible. Like, it isn't just migraines, it's like extreme tiredness, like
mental fog, decision-making problems.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't need to be in a stressful situation having my brain not function because I didn't have my cup of coffee.
Right.
So yeah, that's my month of work doing my caffeine-free prep. So
you're so inspiring. It's been amazing watching you give up caffeine.
There were some days where I thought I might as well just give into it and give up.
I know, and you texted me one time, remind me why I'm not doing coffee anymore again. I had to like talk him down and like get him back on track. Well, probably while I was drinking my coffee at home. Oh gosh, that's definitely something I want to do, but it's for me, I'm still dialing in so much, like with my diet and a kind of new exercise plan, and still focusing so much on fitness and losing weight, and like so many things already I kind of can't, well, you know, because I'm trying to be healthier and do that work. I just feel like if I have to try to add coffee to the list of stuff I'm not doing right now, I will lose my mind. So I'm keeping the coffee for now.
I did lose my mind for a couple days there.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna drink some coffee.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, that's kind of where I am with that. But my gosh, it's so impressive. You just, yeah, you never cease to impress me. Like, this is the way he is, and it's gonna sound so dumb to me, like my ADHD brain and all the stuff that I do. It's like he decides he's gonna do something, and then he does it, and I'm just like, I know that's so dumb, but to me, I'm like, you're a miracle. It's like, you're incredible. So yeah, that's where I am. But yeah, it's just literally every single thing that he has ever decided, every goal you have ever set, you've achieved it. It's just incredible.
Mostly.
I'm trying to I can't even think of a single one that you haven't done.
I don't have ripped abs yet.
That is not just one thing.
True.
You're like, that's like overhauling your entire existence.
True.
And like, we're like, abs are like the only thing that you're going for.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just wait on that yet.
Well, yeah.
Too many other things going on.
Well, yeah, but it's just like, I don't know, is it even worth it? You just
Probably
be
not.
fit? Do you have to have the physical six-pack like showing? Or...
No.
I mean,
I just said I was going to do it once, and then it never happened.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm sure you'll get there then. You'll figure it out. You'll dial it in. Yeah. Anyway, it's cool.
So what are you doing?
Oh, I have. Now I'm thinking about abs and you having abs. So anyway.
No, it's her goal too.
Now I'm like super distracted. I don't know, what would I do with myself if you suddenly were like totally ripped? We'd have the kids have to move out before that happens. So I would be like shipping them off. Anyway, okay. All right. Come back. I just have been kind of like putting a whole bunch of stuff up, doing just doing everything around the house like I always do. But lately I have been working really hard at doing a constant cycle of sprouting grains and then dehydrating them. So like I just put up a big half-gallon jar, like stuffed full, a half-gallon jar of my dehydrated, sprouted, soft white wheat berries. And now I have a whole dehydrator full of sprouted spelt berries, which are getting dehydrated, and then hopefully that'll be another like entire half-gallon jar. And then I like to mix those two together to make flours for like waffles and stuff. Mine is like so boring. And I'm working on putting up kind of like easier foods, and so I'm experimenting with some things that I've been reading about. And so I've got I read, for instance, that you could make your own frozen hash brown potatoes just by shredding potatoes and freezing them. But I did go ahead and soak them for a while first, because the hash browns always turn out better when you soak them. So they were soaked, and now we have a whole tray of hash brown potatoes in a freezer waiting to get frozen. So I'm going to test those out and see if those are good. And anyway, I'm just kind of always, you know, puttering around and doing stuff and taking care of the kids and
doing actual preps.
Well, but yours is still amazing though. That's good, because like what are you gonna do on top of your whatever 50-60 hour work week? It's not
Drink coffee.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I don't know what you think you need to be doing. I mean, you've been doing a lot of.
I need to necessarily.
Oh yeah.
Just
well, yeah, I do, but like I stay home.
Nearly all of the significant prep work that gets done by her.
Well, yeah, but I stay home. So, which of course doesn't mean that I don't work. Like there's still a lot going on, but I feel like it's I have more opportunity to do it. So like in between, like dishes are in the dishwasher, laundry is in the washer, Sage is occupied, or she can kind of help, and then I can fill time in with all these little projects and stuff. So I think a lot of times people watch and they're like, oh, I wish I could do all that. And it's like, well, if you work, I mean, I'm not saying that you can't do stuff if you work, but I have a lot more opportunity to fit that stuff in than somebody who has, you know, a 9 to 5 that is scheduled by someone else. Like I have full control of my schedule pretty much. So I do what I want. So yeah, anyway, I'm just saying, like, I don't think it's, I don't know.
I'm not saying it's a negative either way, or positive either way.
I don't either. Me either. I think we all, if you are passionate about it, you will get it done.
Yep.
Because I'm also not trying to discount how much work it is.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. So it's not like, I feel like even if I had a job, I would figure out how to do it. You know. Yeah. Especially stuff like sprouting and dehydrating. Like that actually is very little active time. Most of the work, or most of the time, is taken up waiting for the stuff to happen. So I feel like that's the kind of stuff that is actually very achievable for anybody who's working or doing something else. So anyway, also gardening. You've been doing yard work though. We've been clearing stuff and getting stuff ready for planting. And then I was like, I'm gonna ferment some jalapenos, because I know we've got some jalapenos out there. And so I thought, I'm gonna go outside and I'm just gonna pick the big ones. And I got this. So this is the bowl. This is like, well, Mr. Vegan Prepper says it's a gallon of jalapenos. I was like, it's like 3 gallons of jalapenos. But it's probably more like just a gallon. I don't know, this is a big popcorn bowl.
Maybe a gallon and a half.
I don't know, it's a lot. The thing I was noticing is that this time we're getting, because for the longest time we just had like every jalapeno that came off, like maybe this would be like the biggest one, and now we're getting like legit like store size jalapenos off of there.
How old are the plants? The year already, or close?
I believe they are a full year old at this point. Yeah, I think they're entering their 2nd year. So apparently, I'm so grateful. We've hit, I hit a spot. So you guys, I have had so much trouble with peppers too. Like peppers are a thing that I've never been able to grow successfully ever in all like whatever 5 or 6 years of gardening I've been doing at this point. I don't remember what it is.
Many failures.
Many failures. Many plants died. So sorry, all my little plants in plant heaven. But anyway, I'm such a dork. But
It's the compost pile.
Plant heaven. Okay, so it's like I'm trying to be better now, but I don't know, we hit some sort of magic spot in the yard, like, and I mean I don't know, it's gonna sound crazy. I'm at this point where I just don't even care anymore. I just pray about it, and I was finally like, God, where do I put these peppers? And I felt like this is the spot. But then also later I was planting sage, and then I decided to plant a sage right in the corner, right there where I had put the two little jalapeno plants. They were tiny when I got them. You should see them now. They're like, how tall are they now?
Yeah, 3 feet probably.
At least 3 feet. We had to put them in tomato cages because they're like massive. It's like a combination, I think, of the perfect spot in the yard. And then the sage, though, I feel like that was another inspired thing. I feel like I have accidentally discovered that sage and jalapenos go together. So I'm testing it now with bell peppers in a different part of the yard, and I planted sage right next to 2 bell peppers. And those two also, as well, seem to be doing, those two, I mean, because it was 2 peppers, so those also are doing really well. They're like getting like to be this tall with the sage plant right there that's just flourishing. So we're testing. But yeah, these apparently, if you have them in a right spot and you have a good zone, like we are apparently zoned for it, peppers will be a perennial. So I am hoping and praying to get another couple of perennial pepper plants.
That would be cool.
But yeah, I'm getting ready to plant. Like I have my planting diagram over here. Probably like 2 beds of corn, another couple beds of edamame, and we're just, yeah, lots of things going for summer. So anyway, yeah.
Cool. I'm excited for when the tomatoes come in because salsa.
Yeah, we do have some tomatoes. It's just those tomatoes, man. I did have beautiful tomatoes last year, and they did produce quite a lot. I did. I'm sorry I wasn't saying it like that.
So someone brutally chopped them down and threw them in the compost. I mean, in plant heaven.
He sent them to plant heaven. Oh my gosh. Well, because, but also last year, so the tomatoes this year are not, I mean, gosh, so they're doing pretty well. I'm trying a different variety my friend grows, and she says they just do crazy well. And if you look at one of the plants, they're completely covered in tomatoes. It's the little yellow pear-shaped tomatoes. They just go everywhere. But last year I was super religious about twirling them up a vine like Charles Dowding does. I'm gonna find a video and put it in the description so you can see how he does his tomatoes. And I was religious about doing it that way. And then this year, I don't even know what's been happening this year. I don't even know. I haven't. And so I don't know that they're getting that productive, but I've planted Roma for the first time. Anyway, just join us in praying that everything starts coming in, because I'm like, like I'm so tired. Like I want to get some tomatoes. I get so jealous. Everybody's like, just tomatoes everywhere. I have greens everywhere. I do really well with greens, and now apparently I do really well with jalapenos. So we'll see. Every gardener seems to have their thing.
Yep.
Every single thing. It's a lesson learned with the tomatoes, and that's how I always approach everything. There's just something I don't know yet. There's some piece of information I need when it comes to how to grow those tomatoes. So, yeah. Anyway, we'll figure it out. It will happen. Another couple years, I'll have some gloriously huge tomato plants.
Yep. I will not send to plant heaven.
Yeah. Well, okay, so what happened was, and then you had no idea. Yeah, you knew that the tomatoes had stopped producing, and they had. But apparently, again, because of the way we're zoned, if you can make your tomatoes survive through summer, and if they're still alive at the start of fall, you'll get another harvest. You'll get more tomatoes out of those same tomato plants. So I was leaving them for the summer, and Adam just didn't realize. He knew that they were not producing anymore, so he cut them down. Because you were clearing for new planting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what happened. It was just, you didn't know what was inside my head because I didn't tell you. I don't even know what's inside my head half the time. So anyway, all right, it's cool. So should we get on to our main topic?
Yeah.
All right. Would you like to introduce it, or would you like for me to introduce it?
Sure, I'll do it.
You'll do it. Okay, sure. The answer to that question is sure.
Sure. I would love to do it.
No, it's like, do you want to do it or you want me to do it? Go, sure.
Sure. So, we're going to talk about what do you do when your spouse, partner, significant other is not on board with prepping.
Or how to get them involved in prepping.
How to get them involved, yeah.
Honestly, this is not something we can speak from experience.
No.
It's just a topic that comes up a lot. So, I don't know.
Yeah, so, like Kathy said, we both got on the same page pretty much at the same time. And that was 2020 happening.
Yeah.
It's like, we need some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
When we went to the grocery store in whatever it was, March last year, and there was nothing on the shelves.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, we should have done this a year ago.
Yeah. Well, we actually already had a lot of stuff.
We did, yeah.
Remember?
We were
so
pre-prepping preppers.
2020 is, I think, when we found out that we are preppers. Because it's something that we've always done. And then I have shared many times, like, especially summer, I stock us before summer happens. Because up until this point, Adam has always had a very, I don't know, what would you call it, fluctuating or kind of seasonal income, I guess, really. Yeah. Where you make a lot more, like many people here in Phoenix, in, central Arizona, summer is when a lot of people kind of, the income gets lower. Just tourists are gone, snowbirds are gone, nobody's here anymore.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I have for many years. I mean, I stock our freezer, I stock our fridge, I stock our pantry with stuff because it's like during fall and winter, I'm always buying extra because I know summer is coming and trying to spend as little money as possible during summer because that's also when our electricity bills go up. So our electricity bill, more than triples in summer. So many things. So it's like money goes down, bills go up, and so it's like,
having food in the fridge is nice.
Yeah, so trying to make absolutely sure that I can spend as little as possible on groceries because that's basically the only thing we really have control over as far as where's our money going. So, yeah, but I mean, even still, always you've always been, I think, a prepper and like looking ahead and keeping stuff on hand and making sure that we have everything that we need. And like we'd go on a road trip, and you're stocking tools and all that. Like I feel like we've always been preppers, but we just didn't ever know that it was called a thing. Like it. Yeah. It was just like, because like to me, I mentioned that not because I'm trying to make us look good. It's because my point is, people think prepper, and it's like everything has to have a term now. It used to just be being smart.
Yeah.
Like that's just to be wise, to like look ahead and anticipate problems so that you can be prepared should they arise. Like everybody who saves money in the bank is a prepper of sorts. And so anyway, I feel like it's not. So maybe that is one way too, even to talk about it to a significant other who thinks that prepping is stupid, but it's not craziness. It's like actually just being smart. It's like looking ahead. You don't have to call it prepping if that makes the person roll their eyes and think about people with tinfoil hats and bunkers somewhere, or, because there's a whole spectrum to prepping. Like, yeah. Seriously, there's a whole spectrum to prepping. I try not to judge.
Hey, if you want to have a bunker, more power to you.
Yeah.
If something happens to where we need a bunker, we're gonna look real stupid.
Yeah.
And you're gonna look real smart. But
yeah,
that's not our level right now. So
no.
But yes, that does typically come with a negative mindset.
Right, and I'm not necessarily, like, gosh, like, if we could have a bunker, I probably would, honestly. Like, if we had the finance and the land or whatever,
Be a dope root cellar.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, oh, pantry.
Never have a bunker.
He's like, crap.
In the backyard with a shovel for the next 6 months. Building a bunker.
Oh my gosh. No, not here for sure. It's too hot. I think even underground it would be too hot.
Probably.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I guess I think first of all, yeah, prepping isn't necessarily like a crazy thing. It's just it's just being smart. It's just being wise. You know, I think of like what comes to mind too is like Proverbs 31. I actually have talked about this on the channel before. There's this part where it says she doesn't fear the cold for her household because all of her family is clothed in double layers. And the whole passage is about her weaving and spinning. She's making cloth to sell and all this stuff. But like at the same time, she has enough clothes for her family that they all have double layers. So she's not scared of cold coming for her household. And so it's like just very practical, like just like you're not afraid now of this thing happening because you're set, like you're good. So I think that's so much what it is too. It's not really about living in fear. It's about getting away from that.
Yeah, it's really preventing future fear.
Right.
So at any rate, like getting your significant other on board, really so much of it is about perspective.
Mm-hmm.
If they have a negative viewpoint of what prepping is, then it just needs to be a perspective change to, hey, I'm not talking about building a bunker. I'm talking about getting us a few months of extra food so that we can be insulated from the ups and downs of life.
Right.
Like people did for hundreds of years before grocery stores existed.
Right.
You would harvest, you would store it, you would eat it.
Mm-hmm.
You would harvest, you would store it, you would eat it. And if you got a really great harvest, then you would store for multiple years. And if you got a bad harvest, then thank goodness you stored extra when things were going well.
Or, you know, you needed whatever, you were friends with the person who had all the jalapenos. And then you would trade for the things that you didn't do. And it's just the way things used to be. Yeah, like people, like it just was so normal, too, to have a big garden attached to the house where they produced so much of their own food because it wasn't like all this centralized thing anymore. Or then. So, yeah, it's like humans used to live this way, always thinking ahead and preparing for the next thing. And so, yeah, it's not at all crazy. I don't know. I think it just makes so much sense. Of course, both of us think it makes so much sense. So, like I said, neither one of us really had to convince the other about this. Now, I might need to convince you that we need a freeze dryer.
Don't disagree with that. I wish they weren't $3,000.
Like, getting a freeze dryer. We're doing it. Like, it's gonna happen. So I like something.
You just have to put it in perspective.
Yeah, see? Like we don't need, I don't know, I'm just joking. Like, so we're just gonna have to save up, right? Like, but that is the next big ticket purchase that is on my radar. Freeze dryer. So anyway, but yeah, it's interesting. But I was thinking about also we were kind of talking about beforehand, so that we would have our thoughts slightly more organized when we were talking on the actual video. Kind of trying to appeal maybe to male versus female psyche, where obviously it's gross overgeneralizations, which I will say that right now. But kind of, I think, generally speaking, women, so I'll speak for the women, and you'll speak for the men.
Sure.
Does that sound good?
Speaking for you guys. Hope you like it.
I don't speak for the women, but I speak to potentially female psyche, again, as an overgeneralization, but kind of generally speaking, I think women are hardwired to desire security. So if it's a woman who needs to be convinced about the wisdom of prepping, I would say appeal to security. Because you had said, too, try to appeal to the motivation of the person.
Yeah.
So whether you're with a man or a woman, what is their motivation? What do they seem to care about the most? If prepping is about alleviating fears, what are they afraid of? Like, is there a way to sort of bring it in where they might be able to see And I think it's also important to say, like, we're not trying to manipulate the other person. It's like to bring them to their own realization of why it's important. But not like trying to manipulate them, but just sort of figure out maybe how to appeal to that. For women, it's security. Just trying to make sure that our family has enough food or whatever. So probably even maybe starting with stuff like food. Maybe don't start with the bunker or the freeze dryer.
Shouldn't start with the bunker.
Right.
Start with food and water.
Yeah. Don't start with like a freeze dryer or like whatever, like the cool thing, or a huge 10 I don't know, 10-foot storage space of like AMMO. I don't know if I'm even allowed to say it. Like if YouTube,
I don't know the rules anymore.
If YouTube will flag it, or whatever. Like don't start with that. Maybe start with the food and water and kind of basics and stuff. The other thing I would say too, even though I know you're going to speak to kind of male psyche, I will say for women too who are very practical, because definitely tons of women are very practical. I feel like we have this thing where like the men are the practical ones. It's like women are actually like really, like I feel like I'm really practical. And for me, a huge wake up call, because like I was saying, we were already kind of preppers, but I was not a prepper to the extent that I am now, because I had never gone through and done like an actual calorie inventory. And that was my wake up call. So if you see like my earlier videos, I talk so much about doing a calorie inventory. And if a person looks and says, we have plenty of food, to like go through and just, again, from a place that's just not like angry, don't be talking to them like they're dumb, just as like with the general or with the genuine desire to inform a person. I just added up all the calories of the food that we have. It's a massive job, I know, but then do it and then divide it and look at how much food you have. And I bet you it is not nearly as much food as you thought you had, because you can get a visual on your food and it looked like a 25-pound bag of beans and a 25-pound bag of rice looks like a lot of food. But once you do the math on it, it's not very much food at all. So that was like my major wake-up call, where it was like, oh my gosh, we need so much more than I think we need. And yeah, visually it looks crazy. But when you do the math on it, it's like, wow, that's not nearly as much as I thought it was.
Yeah, you figure you go to the grocery store and you fill your trunk with groceries every week. That's a week's worth of food.
Yeah.
Your trunk full of food is a week's worth of food.
Yeah.
So
potentially start there. And then even if it's a guy for a woman or whatever, it's like, it's just not as much as we think it is,
Yeah.
So
definitely if there's some pushback on it, yeah, definitely go, yeah, let me show you how little food this really is.
Right.
So like, it looks like a lot, but it's not.
Right. If we had only this, you might be able to eat for 2 weeks out of your pantry where it is right now, but what do you do after those 2 weeks? So 2 weeks is not that long, honestly. And I think that there are actually figures too for like disaster. And that's the thing too. People think, oh, the government's going to send someone or like aid is going to come, but sometimes it's really delayed and you're like seriously on your own. So anyway.
Yeah. Certainly if it's a widespread disaster, there's limited resources to be sent,
Yeah.
The people who are supposed to be sending it might be home taking care of their families.
Right.
So.
Oh yeah, City Prepping has brought that up a lot in his videos. The police, right? The people that are supposed to be helping and organizing stuff after Katrina in Louisiana. A lot of the police didn't show up for work because they were taking care of their own families, which is reasonable. Like I'm not like mad at those police, but that's just like another kind of thing to think about. Like the people that are supposed to be bringing you aid have their own families to think about. And if
they
the
might need aid too
really does hit the fan, like really bad, those people are going to be helping their own families probably before they help strangers. So anyway,
they will show up to work eventually, but not until they're convinced that their family's safe.
Yeah. Anyway, you go ahead. Sorry.
So, as far as guys go, I can speak for myself. I consider myself a provider, and I have a certain amount of pride attached to that. Sometimes to a fault, but going to work every day and working my butt off, I do that so that I can support my family, so I can provide for my family. And I view the prepping as an extension of that, because just like we saw last year, for me to be able to provide to my family means to be able to go to the store with the money that I've earned and purchase food. We couldn't do that in a lot of instances. So you could buy 2-gallon tubs of cheese balls, and that was about it. When I went to Walmart, so now I can't provide for my family. I've earned the money, but I can't provide for my family. So this is like pre-providing. So if I take pride in providing for my family, if I work hard to provide for my family, I know a lot of men have that motivation that they work hard, even sometimes to a fault, to provide a nice life for their family, with that understanding that they're going to be able to do that provision through the money that they've made. And that might not be the case, because you have to have someone to sell you something. There have to be something to sell for you to be able to bring that to your family.
Right.
Amazon will not deliver what they don't have. So
actually, sometimes they won't deliver it if they've deemed it non-essential.
True.
That happened too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were doing essential.
Almost rationing, really.
Yeah.
Like deciding what you can and can't buy.
Yep.
That was like not just Amazon. It was like grocery stores across the country. Like stuff would be on the shelf and you were not allowed to buy that because it's not essential. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
So yeah, I ordered cough drops on Amazon and it took 3 weeks to get them. It's like, what if I'm with COVID and I need some cough drops? That was non-essential somehow. I don't know. But at any rate, that provider, prepping can be a pre-provision. It can be an opportunity to provide when things get crazy. So we're working so hard to make this provision, and we can store it up now for in case something like that happens again. So I know my family is taken care of because I've done the work now. There's also a different kind of pride, and I've 100% I have had this problem, not wanting to ask for a handout, because, and it's an extension of that, wanting to be the provider. I have failed as a human man because I have been unable to bring home the tofu. And to have to ask someone for help to get through a tough time. We've had tough times. Job changes, workflow, things break down, things blow up, things go wrong,
or it's summer.
All those things happened, and it's summer.
Yeah.
And the battery in the truck dies, and it's like, well, now I can't even get to work. So having to call a family member and ask for a handout, ask for help, is not wrong, but very difficult for me, because in that motivation of being the provider, it tells me I'm a failure. So doing all this now preempts that phone call. So if all the crap happens and all the bad things happen, then I don't have to make that phone call because I've already taken care of it. And then Jim down the street's got to come to me to ask for a handout.
Yeah. You've never been a failure.
I know I haven't.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm saying that I'm a failure, but I'm not. That's
how you feel.
The mental image, yeah.
When you get to that place.
Right.
And you have to ask for help.
Yeah. Asking for help is not wrong.
Right. We all need each other.
Yeah.
It's like what I was like with the jalapenos, and so like like, I don't know. So I feel like I have to be good at everything, but maybe I don't. Like, even just this weekend, right? Like on Saturday, we went, we have a friend, who has an orchard, and, she and her husband they grow so many different kinds of fruit and actually can it and sell it. You know, that's how they make some of their money, being local producers for like a local place that sells locally made stuff. And she was like, you know, we have so much stuff. Do you want to come pick the fruit? And we were like, sure. So yeah, we went and got like a whole bunch of peaches. I made some peach pie filling already. I got a whole bunch of apricots, a whole bunch of apples. So I'm still trying to decide what to do with, but you know, it's just like beautiful, amazing abundance. And I was like, do you want some peppers? And she was like, no. Nobody wants my peppers. I try to give them away and nobody wants them. But yeah, nobody likes things as spicy as we do, I guess. I'm all about that spice, man. So I mean, not this much, but
that's a lot of that. Yes.
But yeah, I mean, so, and then we did talk about briefly, and this is getting long like they do, but I would touch on briefly again too, that you may need to also look at your relationship, like the state of the relationship, and what is the primary focus of each partner in the relationship. Where, like, what is most important. And so like for us, like, I don't know, like and we're very fortunate that we have had a lot of good training coming up. Like our church does a lot of really great like marriage conferences and stuff. And so we have a lot of good training, but I think even all the training in the world doesn't help if the internal motivation is not considering him. Like, and again, and I don't mean to like, I understand many non-Christians would watch our videos, but it's like a biblical principle, right? Like, I consider you as more important than me. And this works, and it doesn't become like a one-sided, like abusive relationship. And I'm definitely not endorsing any kind of abuse or whatever, but it works because you feel the same way about me.
Correct.
Yes. So he considers me greater than him. The thing is, if he has a desire and he has a dream, or you decide you want to do something, it now becomes my job to make absolutely sure that I can do everything that I can to support him so that that can happen. Whether it's your bike riding, your marathon, your whatever. One
of the things I've decided that I'm going to do.
Yeah, he's going to start running in sandals now. He's going to start, like, he does all of these things, and it's amazing. That's what I say, like, he's amazing to me. He decides these things, and he just does them. But, like, I feel like it's now my job to support you, whatever you decide. Even if that's not something that I'm doing. But he does the same exact thing for me. I do crazy stuff too. He stays up with me until 2 o'clock in the morning, getting packaging ready for stuff. Like, I decided to give away like 100 things at church again or something. And so he's helping me get the package ready until like 2 o'clock in the morning. Do stuff. Like, he supports me in my craziness. Like, whenever I decide I'm going to do something wild and random. And then, yeah, you help me make that happen. And, yeah, so like, it's just, I support you. And that's kind of our default, is when if it's important to him, it's important to me.
Yep.
Yeah. And if it's important to me, it's important to him. And that's the default. And so I also realize the older that we get and the longer we've been married. So we're about to have our 17th wedding anniversary. We've been married almost 17 years now. Very close to 7, just like less than a week.
Yeah.
Wow. 17 years. So anyway, close to 7.
Marriage will be able to go to an R-rated movie without an adult.
Yay. But anyway, it's almost 17 years now. And the longer we've been married, the older we get to, like, the more rare I realize our relationship is. That makes me very sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like trying to get to a place where that is the focus, where you love the other person. And I think that, you know, you can talk about all the things in the world about like how to get your spouse or how to get your partner to prepare, but do you have that rock solid foundation of supporting each other and loving each other and always being there for each other? And maybe if not, then start there.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, because it comes down to it. You can have food on your shelf, but when tough times come, if you don't have that base structure there, then it will get torn apart.
Right.
And then you're in a bad place with your partner gone or additional stresses to the situation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, marriage prep is definitely important. Relationship prep is extremely important.
Right. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, seriously, and I mean it with no hesitation. Who's the number one person I want by my side if anything goes wrong? And it's you. 100%. Like, no doubt, like, no question. Like, you're the one I want. So.
And not because I'm the best person for the job, but because there's trust and there's support.
You're also pretty great. Like, you are pretty great. You know. No,
Bear
like,
Grylls shows up.
Okay, still him. Oh gosh. But I might have to trade you for Batman voice from Man, Woman, Wild. I didn't even know his name. I don't know his name either.
It's a great show.
It is a good show. I like that show a lot. But anyway, who would you want by your side?
You. Or Batman voice guy.
Or okay. I guess I will. I will bow out if he shows up. That's cool. Yeah, I think it's funny. That's a video that's on the list of videos. Remember that we were talking about doing a video where we outline our strengths and our weaknesses and where we complement each other. And yeah, I think you're so like rock steady. You're ready to like jump in and do whatever needs to be done. I think that's so much one of your strengths. Is it like you don't like react or go crazy? Like you just, it's like a cold and calculated, like, I don't mean cold, but you know what I mean? Like
business.
Yeah, very much like
blood's coming out. Let's make the blood stop coming out.
Yeah, this is what needs to be done. And it's not like a huge long thing. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I like that.
And you're better at everything else.
I'm like, now say something about me. But it's not going to count because I asked. Poor guys, man. I feel bad for all of you. Okay. No, I think a lot of times that's not true. I'm not better at everything else than you. But I think sometimes some of my main strengths would surprise people. So you wouldn't expect me to be like, well, speaking of blood coming out, like I'm so good with that. Like I'm not squeamish at all.
She'll be doing the stitches if need be.
Yeah. Stuff like that. And I have that same kind of thing too, where I have this ability to almost shut the reaction down. Like it's just like a switch that goes off in my brain. If something gets too stressful or too crazy, that I can just go, and now it's just like, it is, for me, it is almost cold calculating what now needs to be done. What is the main thing? And like shut off all emotional response and just get to what needs to be done. You know, and I feel like that's a really great one too.
You're very good at figuring out what needs to be done first. It's like, I know you say you're not very good at organizing, but that's like a talent. Like all this stuff needs to happen, and it's like going out and clean the garage. I'm like, I go out there and be like, oh my gosh, there's so much crap out here. What am I even gonna do? And she'll come out and she's just like, do this. And it's like, oh yeah, if we do that first, then that breaks the whole crazy.
I do definitely have that. I think that's a little bit of my superpower for my ADHD, that my brain is almost like a 3D image, where it's like almost like literally Tony Stark's computer. Like I call up the image, then I'm like, no, that one, and do that one again, or whatever, that I like line it all up, and it's like, okay, that one, now that one.
That's my big ticket purchase. Tony Stark's computer. We'll get your freeze dryer, we'll get me Tony Stark's computer. Where you at, Jarvis?
I was gonna say, will it talk like Jarvis? I'll just listen.
Yes.
Okay.
Has to. Otherwise, what's the point?
Right? Okay, cool. I guess we really should cut this off. This is really long. Okay. All right. So I don't know if that was helpful at all. Hopefully it was. So, all right. And as always, I hope the rest of your day is good and your life stays wonderful. If you have any comments or questions, say down below. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. It helps us out. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.